please welcome to the stage, Rebecca Lessard.
I'm honored to be here. I always considered myself to be a mammal biologist until 25 years ago when I had the opportunity to work with an injured red-tailed hawk. It was that experience that changed my life path forever. I went on to pursue training, which led me to an awesome internship at the Minnesota Raptor Center. When I returned home, I was able to convince my husband, Don, after a wee bit of encouragement, to start a small, licensed raptor rehabilitation program on our private property. Our tidy little plan was to rehabilitate 3 to 5 birds every year. These cases would be successful, and the birds would be released to the wild because we all know it's a perfect world. Don and I thought this could be our service work back to the planet. Well, our first year, we rehabilitated 12 raptors, which showed that there was such a strong need for licensed raptor rehabilitation in northern Michigan. Over the next 10 years, we admitted and rehabilitated more and more and more raptors, which really put a huge strain on our small family finances. So at the 10-year mark, Don and I decided we'll incorporate as a nonprofit charity, which would provide some opportunities in the way of grants and tax-deductible donations. So in 2001, Wings of Wonder was officially hatched as a federally recognized nonprofit charitable entity. We brought on a board of directors, and we increased our mission to not only include rehabilitation, but also a really strong educational component and research. Well, Wings of Wonder began to grow quite quickly at this point, in a fairly disorganized way. Before long, we had a huge crew of volunteers and a volunteer coordinator. I had to create training programs for those volunteers. Plus, I was on the road presenting upwards of 100 educational programs annually throughout northern Michigan, always accompanied by several of our non-releasable raptor ambassadors. Our rehabilitation work had also increased, where we were admitting 50 to 75 sick, injured, and orphaned raptors. Well, looking back at this time, I realized that my board of directors was more of a visionary board versus a working board. At their monthly board meetings, they would brainstorm these really, really cool and exciting new plans, programs, and events. But at the end of the day, all those new tasks were assigned to my job description. Now, I was guilty at the time of getting caught up in that glitz and excitement of growth, and so I kept willingly accepting those new job responsibilities. Well, as you can imagine, my life became a mess. I was spread so thin in so many different directions that I was quite ineffective at most everything I did. I began to doubt myself, wondering, what is wrong with me? Why can't I get these things done? Why am I such a failure? It wasn't until I went away to attend a 1-week-long international bird conference that reality finally opened my eyes. It was about midweek, and I had met this wonderful woman from Bolivia who worked with raptors. We were sitting at a local pub one evening, having a glass of wine, and I'm sure I was boring her to death with all of my complaining when she said, "Just don't get caught up in founder syndrome." I said, "Tell me more." And as she did, I realized she was describing me and my situation back home. Here I had created this baby that was later to be called Wings of Wonder, and it was literally consuming me. So once I got back home, I sat down at the kitchen table, and I made a master list of my job description. I included every task, every chore, every program, every event, every deadline. From that master list, I made a new list of the things I wanted to do, the things that I knew I was good at, and the things that I knew I could accomplish. This is when the mantra, bless and release, was given to me by a friend who is a great counselor. By acknowledging the remaining items on the master list, I could then bless them and release them. I could release them to somebody else to complete that task. I could release them to a completely different time frame. I could even release them to their total elimination. This was such a liberating experience for me, and I couldn't wait to share it with my board of directors. Yeah, their reaction was quite unexpected. They freaked. They felt that I was changing Wings of Wonder so greatly that they were no longer needed. So they all left the board. Quite unexpected. Well, I had to scramble to temporarily fill those positions because Wings of Wonder has to have a board of directors in order to stay legal in the eyes of the IRS. I knew that I didn't want to fill those positions with new people who would continue to brainstorm and add yet more chaos. So, put myself on the board. My husband Don joined the board, and my sister Kathy. That kept Wings of Wonder legal, and over the next 9 months, we reconfigured the organization. Now, this was a grueling 9 months for me, because I had to ask myself and answer some pretty difficult questions, starting with, do I even want to continue this work? I knew in my heart the answer was yes. So our solution was to downsize the organization and to refine our multifaceted mission. Then we were ready to look for a new permanent board. In 2007, we were able to successfully recruit 3 amazing, exceptional women. These women are still the current board of directors today. They have brought such goodness to Wings of Wonder and to me personally. Their expert leadership skills and professional savvy have brought this organization to where it is today. Our membership has tripled in the last couple of years. We actually have members who live all over this world, so our wingtips spread far and wide. Our educational programs reach over 10,000 people annually, people of all ages, as we introduce the wonders of raptors. And we also have a team of 10 veterinary clinics that provide such a wealth of medical resources, allowing our rehabilitation work to be so successful. So everything was rolling along so beautifully and so smoothly. And then my life crashed. On October 2nd of 2014, my husband Don passed away suddenly from a heart attack. There were no warnings. I was saying I felt him close, but that was so cool. I really needed that. As I was saying, there were no warnings or no symptoms. He was just gone, but I guess he's here now. At that time, I felt as though I had been thrown off of a high cliff and was falling into a dense, dark cloud of suffocating numbness. It was only because of the strong love and support from my family, my friends, and this community that my life flame did not go out completely and I didn't hit rock bottom. I am someone who has to see things as pictures in my mind in order to understand and make sense of the world around me. So I knew that I needed to create what this picture of grieving looks like before I could start my journey of healing. My road of grieving appears to me as a long series of rooms. These rooms are connected end to end to end by a swinging door. Each room holds a feeling or an emotion. Some rooms are filled with sorrow, darkness, pain, fear, uncertainty. Yet other rooms hold beauty, peacefulness, unconditional love, light, trust, strength, knowledge. I never know what the room's going to be like until I step in and the door swings closed behind me. I choose to enter these rooms in my mind and to experience that feeling or that emotion as completely as I can, blessing and releasing, as this is the only way I know how to heal. I'm able to navigate these rooms because the rooms aren't endless, and in my mind, they have a finite dimension. They have a ceiling, floor, walls, and they always have a door at the other end. I'm doing quite a bit of reading along this new life path of mine. And one author in particular who's been quite helpful is Pema Chodron, who's an American Buddhist nun. She writes that when you feel like your life is falling apart and you just don't know which way to turn, this is your opportunity for true awakening. This is when you are living in the present moment. When we can relax in the midst of pain, chaos, and fear, we find that the present moment is a pretty vulnerable place. It can be quite unnerving and completely tender all at the same time. This is where our understanding grows deeper and we encounter our heart. Her words have brought me great strength, especially when I seem to be stuck in a room in my mind, that seems really dark and pretty big, and I am so afraid and so lonely and begin to doubt myself, and I falter. And then I remember her words. This is my opportunity for true awakening. And this beautiful sense of serenity will just wrap itself around me, and I'm given the strength to once again put one foot ahead of the other and find that next door. So now what? I will continue my journey of healing, blessing and releasing along the way, and finding my new personal life rhythm. I will continue to accept the many gifts that Don gives me, even in his passing. Our beautiful memories of 33 years together, and the reminder that our life is so very precious. We don't know how much time we have. And so what is truly important is to live our life fully, with honesty, and always with love. What now for Wings of Wonder? Well, we've decided to bless and release Wings of Wonder. It's time for Wings of Wonder to fly off of my private land where there is no more room for growth and build a new nest. We are looking for that perfect piece of property somewhere within the greater Grand Traverse area where we can create a state-of-the-art, fully public raptor center and sanctuary where people of all ages can come 7 days a week to see raptors, to learn about raptors, and to experience raptors. This is such an exciting time for Wings of Wonder, for me, and for this community. I get super giddy thinking about it, much less talking about it. So I'm going to pause now. I have a video to share with you, which will give you a visual experience of what Wings of Wonder is all about. My heart-filled thanks to each of you for giving me this time to share my story. I give to you the mantra, bless and release, which you can use in so many different times and places in your life. You can bless and release an idea, a joy, an illness, a fear, a loved one, a journey, a story. So take this mantra, tuck it into your life tool belt so it's ready if and when you ever need it. Bless and release. Thank you.